Damn, we got a live audience.
You should put that dude in front of a live audience.
I didn't invite this man.
Put like a laugh track.
Yeah, applause.
Yeah, we have the applause on here. All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Betamax. My name is Fidel, and joining me on this episode is Birdie, Koryn, and Lijia. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hey, fellas.
Fellas.
What's up,
Just
ladies?
So I wanted to have you guys on because you guys had went to this famous haunted place in San Diego called the Whaley House, right?
Yep.
How long ago was that?
That was last year in
Yeah.
November.
November.
November 9th,
Damn, so it's been a whole year already?
2022.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So it's post-spooky season you went.
Yeah.
Was it because it was cheaper? Or?
No, it's because...
Or it was just that booked?
It was pretty booked, and that's the date that we could all unite.
Yeah, there was a group of us, so I think that just
Yeah.
worked for everybody's schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you guys telling me about it, and I was like, damn, I want to go. But I just wasn't able to put it into my schedule, to take the time off or just to go.
Yeah.
But I was like, I got to have them on because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
You
I
should
still want to
definitely go.
Yeah. Just saying.
Where is it?
I know Koryn wants to go back with us. It's in San Diego.
Yeah,
okay.
Old Town San Diego.
Yeah.
And it's actually in this district where there's like a bunch of bars around, which is really interesting because you're in this like really spooky
Yeah.
19th century home.
Yeah.
And there's literally people like getting freaking messed up across the street,
Yeah.
screaming and hollering. So it's kind of like a funny, I don't know, dichotomy there.
Yeah, it was cool.
You wouldn't go back, though?
For a long time I was saying I would never go back just because my experience was so intense in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. But I feel like it's been long enough where I've forgotten all the trauma.
So you want to relive the trauma?
I think I might be ready to go back, to be honest with you. We've been talking about it too, and he's like, really?
Jacob.
Yeah, he's really interested in checking it out. So I
Oh, that's
might.
right. He didn't go with you the first time.
Yeah, it was just us ladies.
Ladies'
Yeah, it was
night.
a little ladies' night.
We had a little
spooky.
crew. Yeah, a little spooky booze.
Spooky
Yeah.
babes.
How'd you guys even hear about it?
I think you turned me on to it.
Yeah, so we were actually having a conversation. We're on the phone, and we were trying to brainstorm to do some spooky stuff for the like Halloween season.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just look up some attractions, some events in the area. And I was like Google searching things. And it was one of the first things that pulled up. And it said this tour. It was kind of pricey. But what was so alluring about it was that it was technically a non-guided tour. You have 3 hours in this house. And you're given a bunch of equipment to perform like an amateur investigation, essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I don't think we quite understood what that meant. We just thought, oh, cool. I think in our minds we still considered it almost like a tour, but it's nothing like that.
Nah.
It's very much like a real paranormal investigation that you're conducting. And
Way more
it's
intense.
cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys know about the house before, even looking this up?
No.
No, not at all.
I know. Excuse me. We have been talking about doing something spooky. I was thinking Queen Mary, but it was closed at the time, and we were just throwing out ideas, and she showed me that, sent me a link, and I checked it out, and I was like, yes, I'm down.
Yeah,
like
we're fucking doing
100%.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we just got a little group together and went and got our tickets and went, and it was great. Well,
Yeah, and I'm really glad that we went with a group
Yeah.
because it definitely helped.
Did it
Yeah.
make you
The
get in a
experience.
group? Or
No.
No,
like
they
if just me and him were to go, would they be like, you guys need to bring more people? Or you guys are going to have to join this group?
I don't think there's necessarily a minimum. I think there's a maximum of how many people they'll have in the house at once.
Yes,
But
12.
Yes. But when we went, there were actually 2 groups. There was 2 groups of 4, plus I guess you can call him like a tour guide, so to speak. He kind of
Yeah.
like chaperones the night, and it gives you a brief history on the location. And honestly, I think it's also his job to kind of get you like riled up right before. He kind of puts a little
Yeah.
spook in you
Yeah.
just to get you all like hyped up before you go in there, and it totally works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it definitely helped to be in a group just because it's. And we can get into that too. It's a little overwhelming, I would say, the experience being inside that house.
So before this experience, do you guys believe in ghosts and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've had experiences previously.
I've had some weird experiences too.
Would you guys mind sharing?
No, I don't mind.
No, not
Go
at
for
all.
it. Whoever, go.
After you.
I'm a rock, paper, scissors.
Go for it.
Sure. So the old house that we used to live in Covina with my family, it was the second house I lived in. I must have been in like 6th grade or something. And I came home from school, laid down on my bed, and I had a blanket that was under me, but it was like up to my like thighs almost, or maybe mid-knee. I know it was pretty high up. As I'm laying there, the blanket gets pulled out from under me, and I just kind of like sat up, shocked, trying to figure out, okay, did I do that somehow?
Yeah.
How the hell did that thing just get pulled out from under me? And but I only like paused for like maybe 3 seconds, and then I just booked it out my bedroom door. It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
So I didn't see anything necessarily that time, but it was just a weird thing that happened.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've experienced.
Yeah, and I won't drag the story out because it's kind of a long one. But
It's okay.
Just to summarize, in the beginning of my career as a young adult, I worked as a massage therapist. And my very first placement, it was in Norco. Mm-hmm. This is like an old town. This is horse country here, and a lot of very creepy areas. But I was working at a spa at the time. This old, like, it was in an old plaza, but the suite itself was new. And it turned out to be extremely haunted. Although I will say that in the beginning, I was highly skeptical of anything happening because the ladies that worked there were all complaining like, oh, it's creepy in here. Oh, I'm being tugged on, or I'm hearing footsteps. And they were claiming all these things, and I thought it was nonsense. I was just like disregarding everybody saying like, oh, you're crazy. You're just imagining things. Like, this isn't even a thing. Yeah. And so me just being really ignorant and bold, I would hang around the spa. And to give you guys context, the owners of the spa, okay, POSs, but anyways, side note, they were cheap asses. They would only light up the front part of the spa. Like, they literally physically removed the bulbs in back of the spa. So there was no light. So at night, it was just pitch black back there. Yeah. You couldn't really see. And they would light these little tea light candles, and they thought they were creating like this Zen-like experience. I'm like, fuck that, dude. It's just freaking like dark in here and uncomfortable. But anyways, it was my first job. I didn't know any better, so I just dealt with it. But there were a lot of spooky occurrences that were going on that were unbeknownst to me, like happening apparently at the time. So eventually everything culminates to this one experience that I have one night. I'm working back there by myself. I have a client that I'm finishing up with. They're walking towards the front of the spa. And to give you guys kind of a visual, the lobby of this spa is separate from the back, meaning there's a door that separates the rooms and the front lobby. So when they walk down this hallway, they go through a door and they're on the other side of this wall. So no one's back there. I'm back there by myself. I can hear that my client's chatting with the receptionist. She's getting checked out. I'm about to fold a chair to put underneath my massage table. And as I'm doing that, I swear to goodness, out of nowhere, I hear almost like, the only way I can describe it is a backwards scream.
Like it was like getting sucked back in?
Exactly. It sounded like someone was in my ear, and then all of a sudden I hear, like that. And it shocked me because it was so loud that I dropped my chair. And it reverberated through the spa. You could hear it echo because I was the only one back there. And I turn around, and your mind's trying to make sense of these experiences, right? You're always trying to, like, in that split second, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to turn around and find somebody. Or there's some kind of thing that's creating this noise. You're always trying to, like, figure out what's going on to make sense of it. I turn around, and it's just pitch black. There is nothing there. And literally within a matter of seconds, I realize, holy crap, something just happened to me. I bolt down the hallway, And I'm literally running. I go through the door. My client's still in the front. And they both look at me. And I'm like, hi. I just had like the craziest, because I'd never really had something like that happen to me. Not to that magnitude. I've had weird things happen, but not like that.
Yeah.
Not an audible experience like that. So I'm literally trying to like hide the sheer terror that I have inside of me, because I was on the verge of tears at this point. I was so terrified.
Yeah.
And I do this like little nerdy wave, and luckily there was the break room towards the front of the area that I was able to kind of like skedaddle my way into and like quickly go in there, shut the door, and I just start bawling because I was so overwhelmed. I was in shock. Like I just couldn't make sense of the experience. And I hear my client leave. The receptionist comes out. She comes in. She's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" I could tell something's wrong. Like, you seem really shook up. Like, what happened? And I begin to describe the situation. And then she kind of, like, grinned at me. And she's like, fucking told you. Fucking told you. And I kind of ended up eating my own words at the time, because I was giving people a lot of shit. I was like, you guys are just making stuff up.
Yeah.
You know, this is all in your head. And that receptionist at the time, she ended up being, like, a good friend of mine for a couple of years. But before that had happened, she had talked about how one morning, because she would open up the spa, and she went in there, and one morning she walked in, no one was in there, and I think she was just setting stuff up, and then all of a sudden, she said she hears footsteps, like gunning it, almost like down the hallway, like towards her, but there's nothing that she can like visually see. And she said whatever was there, whatever entity was there, like chased her out of the spa. She ran out and she was like bawling, crying. She did not want to work that day. And I remember that being a really intense experience that she had. But after that, essentially what ended up happening was that I don't know how to put this. I was basically haunted.
Yeah.
I was haunted for months. Something had attached itself to me and was haunting me anywhere I went. And it was one of the most stressful periods of my life, because it felt like whatever was there would just not let me sleep. It wouldn't leave me be. I felt like I had a lot of bad luck at the time. There was a lot of negativity around me. Yeah, it just, I can't really pinpoint like when everything ended, but that was probably, I would say, one of the most intense things I'd ever had happen to me, and that definitely cemented my belief.
Yeah.
I mean,
Were you pretty skeptical before?
It's not that I was skeptical. It's just that I hadn't experienced it. So I'm definitely not the kind of person that's closed-minded where I'm just going to write something off just because I haven't experienced it or because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's mostly because I just haven't, it's because I haven't seen it myself, or I guess experienced it as well. That makes it hard for me to come up with an opinion. But after that, I would say it was like, hell yeah, there's definitely something out there that we don't understand.
Yeah.
Whether it's spirits, ghosts, apparitions, energy sources, who the fuck knows? There's definitely another realm out there that we cannot see, but can certainly experience.
What about you, Birdie? You ever experienced anything?
No, I probably have, but I'm such a
skeptic.
Yeah, and I have this like reductionist point of view towards things that happen to me like that, where like, maybe last night something might have happened.
Last night?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But,
interesting.
Oh my, was it here?
Yeah, it was in this living room.
Oh,
that we're all in right now.
Oh, nice.
I knew it, Fidel.
I don't know if it was probably you or Anna, because I know you guys were here last night.
Yeah.
But like I said, that happened, and I just was like, something fell.
Wait, so what happened? Something fell?
Well, I was laying down on the couch where Jacob's at right now, and I was watching Mars Attacks.
Okay.
And
I was watching that last night too.
Oh, damn, man, things are going full circle right now. But I was laying down, and I was like dozing off because I was tired. I only got like a couple hours of sleep the night before. And I was like dozing off, and I was watching Mars Attacks, and then like after the opening scene, I was like, I went black. I just knocked out. But I had everything on that's on right now except for this light.
Yeah.
And the TV, obviously. And then I just hear like literally like that. Like if someone was here, standing there,
Yeah.
and just went like that. And then, like, it woke me up, but right away I didn't, like, what was that?
Yeah.
Like, I was just annoyed. Like, I was just like, I was taking a really good nap, dude, you know?
Rude.
So, like, I'm facing towards the chimney. And when I hear that, I'm not facing towards the turntable.
Yeah.
So I hear that, and, like, I turn around real quick, and I'm thinking I'm going to see you or Anna, or even, I don't know, Eddie probably came over and just started to fuck with me. He was like, oh, he's sleeping. I'm going to just fucking make some noise and wake his ass up.
Yeah.
But no, I get up, and usually I hear you guys walking, like, because this fucking house is old. You can hear everybody walking. But I don't hear anyone walking.
Around what time was this?
It wasn't that late. It was, like, you guys were probably still up. It was, like, maybe 8 or 9.
Because I went to sleep. We went to sleep pretty early last night because I had work.
Like,
today.
what time do you think?
Like, I want to say 9:30 maybe.
Yeah, it was probably around that time. But yeah,
Was it Koryn having an out-of-body experience?
I don't know.
But yeah, like, I just, like, I got up and I didn't hear your guys' footsteps. And then that's when I started being like,
What the fuck?
what the fuck was that? But I had the door open here.
Yeah. Maybe somebody outside.
Maybe it was like, but it came from in here.
I don't know then.
But then I was like, maybe it was a
It was the ghost of
DoorDasher,
Koryn.
because maybe it was like a DoorDasher who saw me napping and thought, like, because I know you order food sometimes,
Yeah.
and, like, maybe they dropped it off and they
We
saw
didn't
me and they
order
were
food
like, I
last
should
night.
wake this motherfucker up before
Yeah.
someone jacks his food. But I, like, looked out there too. There was no food. There was no one there, and I was just like, well, this is baffling, you know? Because it didn't sound like, because I know what that would sound like if it hit the floor.
Yeah.
I know what this would sound like if it hit the floor, and I know what these things would sound like if they hit the floor, and nothing was on the floor. I just heard a physical, like, 2-hand slap. So I was like, weird. But that was last night, and, like, like I said, I have such a reductionist point of view towards things like that where I was just like, it was probably, I don't know, an echo from across the street. Somebody was probably just clapping, and then it just traveled this way, and it made itself, like, right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then I calmed down after that. I was like, that's probably it. Probably. You know, I'm not going to wake up my roommate to keep me company while I watch Mars Attacks. That's silly, you know? But
Oh my gosh.
that was the most recent thing that happened to me last night.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not going to say that it was that, but maybe it was, because this house is old and maybe someone died here.
We have had a lot of friends that have lived here, and so I've heard stories from everybody that has lived here. Like, yeah, this house is haunted, dude. Like,
But I never experienced anything except for last night, which is weird.
for that, yeah, that, and then the thing I've experienced here is one time, the same thing. I was in the living room and I heard Birdie's door open. He wasn't home, and, like, we closed our doors, like, all the way, but I heard his door open, and I was like, what the fuck? I thought he wasn't home, so I went and checked it out, and there was nobody in his room. So I don't know what that was.
And I've never experienced anything, like, and I'm up late, like, I'm up till, like, 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm, like, getting water, or, like, sometimes I'll take a walk around the neighborhood,
Yeah.
but I just won't experience anything. But last night was the first time where I was like, that was weird.
Because I know Fernando and Sam, when they lived here, they said, like, we have, like, a key rack by our back door that they, like, have on video. I haven't seen the video, but they apparently have a video of the keys just swaying back and forth by themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, your place definitely has some spoopy vibes.
Really?
I would say.
Does
Your
it?
hallway especially. I think the first time I came, that was one of the first things I mentioned to you was, dude, your hallway. And then to top it all off, you guys have a creepy-ass framed, I think it's a poster?
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah,
from
back
the movie The Thing.
Yeah, definitely adds to the ambiance
That's what's up.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's such an interesting thing because, you know, oftentimes people who believe in the supernatural and the paranormal, they tend to just say, you know, these are just, like, energy signatures left behind and, you know, everything is energy. But, like, it's just hard to explain, you know, places such as homes will harness these types of energies. At least that's the belief system. So really, I mean, any place could potentially have something either transient or something that is, you know, something that's localized to the area occur. Who knows? But it's a strange phenomenon for sure. Yeah.
Because I definitely fall more on the side of like what Birdie was saying, like skeptical.
Have you experienced anything?
Yeah. Yeah. Like just your room, the door in your room. But I've experienced stuff like when I was younger, but I've always felt like it's my mind playing tricks on me. Because my mom had always told me that like I was haunted by this older lady. Like I don't know the origins of where this story came from, but she would tell me, yeah, like there's the older lady that haunts you, like specifically. And so like growing up, I would see shit, but I would tell myself like it's because my mom told me this and like it's in my head.
Like you actually recall these memories, or it's just what
just the one. There's a lot of them that I don't really remember anymore, but the one that still sticks in my head, I think I just remember because there was someone with me when it happened, and it was John Solis. Like we went to high school with him. He was at my house, and the way I think I've told this story before, but the way my room was set up when I was in high school, my TV was in front of like my window, and it was during the day and we're watching a movie, or I think we're playing video games, but it was a part of the movie or game, whatever we were doing. The screen went blank, and you could see the reflection outside behind us, like the window that was above us, and I just saw like a silhouette of a woman looking down, and like I remember that, and then we look at each other and look up behind us to see but there's nothing there, and then I hear my mom go, "Who's that?" And then like I look to the living room and I see my mom looking towards the backyard, and she's like, "I just saw somebody run across, but it wouldn't make sense." She said it wouldn't have made sense the way they were running because there was a wall right there. So if there was somebody and they were running, they would have had to jump the wall. But she said they just went straight. And we went back there and there was nothing.
Yeah.
But that's the one memory I still have.
Yeah.
But
that's
it's just weird because in that situation I tell myself like it's just because my mom told me these things and it's in my head, and it was probably just like a random crackhead at our house because we always had like random crackheads at our house. So
I mean, we're always trying to rationalize these experiences, right? And you would think after, I mean, because I have plenty of stories like that, but you would think that after all those things, I'd be like, yeah, for sure, all these things. But there's still always like a small little piece of me that's trying to make sense of it, trying to rationalize, trying to understand, trying to like scientifically break it down to make it make sense. But it's one thing I actually wanted to add about my story earlier that I failed to mention that is very important to know is that after my experiences, I ended up finding out that there was a very old graveyard that happened to be right behind our plaza that we weren't aware of.
oh my God.
Jeez.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, of course, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just abandoned, because I never saw it myself, to be honest with you. But from what I was told, it was just, there was a bunch of foliage that had overgrown and nothing was being maintained. I think it might have been something that one of those graveyards that just got lost in translation at some point, and they just built stuff around it or on top of it. So for all we know, we could have been on top of someone's tombstone, gravestone, and not known it. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense why stuff was more than likely active, and that's why. No.
Jeez.
Yeah, but like going back to you saying like we try to rationalize things, like because I definitely do that. The whole thing with Birdie's door, like the way I would rationalize in my head is like, okay, it's an old house. Maybe like the neighbors were walking, and because the floorboards are old, it's connected. It just something shifted in the wood, and it made the door open.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would tell myself. Like,
Yeah, because I think like believing in the latter would just, I don't know.
it is scary.
It's scary and overwhelming in a lot of ways because we just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But there is something happening. We just don't quite know what it is yet.
Right.
I also feel like it's kind of alienating to want to believe in that stuff too, because just like I was saying on the last episode where we were talking about like aliens and shit.
Yeah.
For some reason, this type of stuff just gets kind of looked down on.
Yeah.
Or it's like, really, you believe in that, you goofy ass? Like,
Yeah.
grow up.
Yeah.
And it's like, how about you just open your mind a little more,
Yeah.
and just grow up. You know?
Yeah. You grow up.
Yeah.
No, you.
And which sucks because it's like, I like having conversations like these, like subjects on this and like that. But you have to really be careful who you're talking to about it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you'll end up leaving a taste in someone's mouth where they'll just not want to hang out with you again for some
Yeah.
reason, and it's all because they just haven't matured yet.
And they think you're weird.
Yeah, and they just yeah.
And
so
it's uncomfortable for some people to just, I don't know, accept the idea that you're not going to know everything.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly,
Yeah.
and it's
there's
just like,
a lot we don't
And truth
is
understand.
stranger
and
than
know.
fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's crazy because it's like a lot of people don't realize that. I forgot what podcast I heard this in, but a lot of people don't realize how much hypocrites they are, because it's like to believe in nothing is to believe in something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get so many people like that have been around me that have been like, I just don't believe in nothing, and that makes me, this and that, and it's like, you still sound kind of dumb. You still sound kind of like you're just not willing to open your mind a little more to
Yeah.
things. So it's kind of like, okay, I get it. You're cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to bring that up, because it's like, I'm so glad you guys are so willing to be here and talk to us about it, because I
yeah.
love
Oh, yeah.
having conversations about these type of things, because they're so interesting, and
Yeah.
there's nothing you can tell me that's gonna make me feel like it's just dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's
Like-
a lot of strange phenomenon happening
Yeah.
every single day that
Exactly.
people constantly disregard.
And I love talking about it so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun whether you understand it or not, whether you believe it in or not. It's still, I think, an interesting topic to
Exactly.
discuss.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for like being here and having this conversation.
Thanks
But,
for inviting us.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I was really
I've
excited.
been hyped all week.
They invited.
But going back to the Whaley House thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The reason we're here.
Yeah.
The reason we're all sitting here. But I'm like, the way you guys talk about it, man, it makes me nervous. It makes me, yeah, like,
should
it
be
makes,
nervous.
even, like even talking about it right now, like my armpits are kind of like getting hot, you know?
Let me see.
Because I'm like, I want to go and experience it, but at the same time, I'm just like, do I really want to?
I'll protect you.
No,
I got
Let's
you.
do it.
Yeah, like, dude, if I go, I definitely want to
She
go with
will.
you.
I'm
Like,
strong.
yeah, I don't
She
doubt
is.
that. Yeah.
I can vouch.
But I want to talk about more of your guys' experience on that. Like,
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
it really, like, were you scared? Like, were you
Oh yeah, but I'll let Koryn
you guys actually just like,
talk about it.
was there a point where you guys were
I-
just like, man, you know what? I don't want to do it.
No, there was absolutely no part of me where I was like, I don't want to do it. There was a part where I was questioning myself, like, we're gonna do this right now. But I was like, we got this. We have a solid group.
I felt that too, and then I was like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I definitely felt both of that. Excited, felt like I was
Yeah.
gonna conquer this experience, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I was shitting some bricks too. Like right before getting in that house,
I felt like I
for
was.
sure.
I was like, yeah, I'm an explorer. I'm gonna experience this. I don't know.
Koryn the ghost
something
hunter?
that not everyone gets to experience or is willing to experience. I wasn't really. The only time I actually felt scared was when we were leaving, and I was the last one going down the stairs.
I remember that.
And it was pitch black behind me, and I was like, I'm the fucking last one up here.
Well, when you have the chaperone / tour guide himself asking you to wait for him so that he can turn off the lights, you know there's a problem.
Yeah.
He was literally like, oh, wait, because it's a 2-story house. And so to give you guys a visual, we were at the top of the stairs, and this was already towards the end of the night. Mind you, we had spent 3-4 hours in this place, and they do lock you inside.
Yeah.
You were in this place all night. It's really trippy and really cool. But we're walking down the stairs, trying to make our way out, and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. wait. And we're like, whoa, what's going on? Literally runs upstairs. He's like, I gotta turn off the lights. And we kind of giggled
Yeah.
a little bit. But yeah, you remember.
He didn't want us to leave
was
without him.
such a character. God bless him. And if he ever, for whatever crazy chance, listens to this, he was amazing.
Yeah.
What's
He
his
was
name? Do you
cute.
remember?
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I remember Sam. I'll never forget
She
Sam.
had a hard answer, Sam.
It was cute.
Sam
Damn, that's what's up.
Sam was going through some shit, y'all.
Yeah.
So he was certainly an oversharer. He was telling us about his life, how his girlfriend left him. He would like somehow fit that into the conversation. He would go over like the history. Oh, this is the courtroom, and oh, it's said to have a portal over here. By the way, my girlfriend left me. Like he would ask him a question, and somehow would lead to like how horrible his life was at the time. And this guy had a grown out beard. He was a little greasy.
He looked
"This
like
house
he
is
was
so
going
dark,
through
like
it.
my heart."
Yeah, slept in a few days.
Yeah.
But he was great, and I would absolutely recommend him if you do get to, if he's still working there and you get to spend the night there with him chaperoning, you won't have a bad time. He was excellent. He was well versed on the history, and I learned a lot through his talk on the location. Mm-hmm. But you know, my opinion, I guess, is a little biased in a way because I already went. I had my experience, but I've always, I don't know if it just naturally attracted these experiences, but I've always had weird things happen to me. So when I walk into places like this that are already energetically charged, I'm already on edge because I tend to absorb energy very easily. I walk in a room and I can feel like, kind of like when you feel that heaviness when someone's just argued. We all kind of have that to a certain degree, but some have it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so when I walk into a space, it's very easy for me to get overwhelmed by the energies. And I remember, you know, we walked in because there's this really cool porch, and you walk in as a group. All the lights are off in this place. Yeah, they turn all. It's a real ass investigation, y'all. Okay, they ain't fucking around. And instantly, you feel like you're in a fishbowl. You feel like you are an uninvited guest in someone else's space.
Yes.
People are staring at you even though nothing is there, and there is a heaviness.
Yeah.
It's like something I've never experienced. Is it the most haunted house in America? I don't fucking know because I've never been to every single haunted house in America, so I can neither, confirm or deny. But I will say, motherfucker is haunted.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I gotta say, because I was the lucky one I was chosen to be the first one to walk in.
She was.
Yeah.
First one in, last
By
one
her
out.
man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh my goodness.
By her mans?
Yeah, he chose me. Yeah, and I remember I was like, oh, okay. Do you want me to open the door and walk in first? Okay. I wasn't expecting that, and but as soon as I opened the door and walked in, it was so quiet inside, like dead silent, and I don't know how to explain it. The air felt thick from going outside to inside. It was just like
a wall.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you feel it as soon as you walk through that door. And he told me to walk in and go to the first door on the left, which led to the market, and then through there was the courthouse. So when I'm the first one opening the doors, I don't know, like immediately I was just like, I'm not just going into any house. Like this is, I can feel that I am walking into someone else's house. Like this is their house.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This isn't just an empty house.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, we're talking about a house that was built in the mid 1800s. Okay, it began construction 1856, completed 1857. And since then, it was used as a courtroom, a theater, it was a general store, and it was its first bilingual general store in that area.
Wow.
And I think also the house itself was, at the time, considered a mansion and would have been the first, I don't know if I'm right here. I think I am. But I think it was the first brick house constructed in that area as well. I mean, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And the story or the background history of this place is that there was a family that lived there, the Whaleys. The father was Thomas Whaley. He was born in New York, but he did eventually travel to California during like the gold rush era because I guess shit was popping back then, all right? There was some gold to be had, apparently. And he did really well for himself, constructed the house. But what makes this location, what makes it so strange that he chose this location and why I think he cursed himself as a result is because he decided to build a home over what was being used as the execution grounds.
Fuck.
And it's widely believed that that's why that location is so haunted.
Yeah.
So even before they built the house and they moved in, it was very obviously heavy. There was a lot of energy there that they were already disrupting by building a home there. But what's even more fucked up is that, and allegedly, right? This is according to legend.
Exactly.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know
According to
100%
legend.
Yeah.
And if you were to look at the layout, this would make more sense. But there's essentially a room in the house called the parlor.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the most hostile areas in the house. They do not like you. Yeah, hostile. And we'll get into that
Like
maybe
aggressive.
a little bit later.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just kind of. What do you mean by that?
We'll get into that.
We got you.
But there's an archway,
Yeah.
very famous archway that was constructed in the house, and it is said that that archway was built exactly over the area where people were hung.
Mm-hmm.
And one person in particular who's infamous for haunting that location, his name is Yankee Jim, and this dude was like 6'4". Okay, mind you, this was during a time when the average height was like 5'3", 5'5", right? This dude was massive. They didn't account for his height at the time when they hung him. He was actually hung for larceny, so he got caught stealing a rowboat or something like that. They hung him, but what happened is he was too tall and his feet hit the ground, so he essentially was strangled to death for minutes, almost an hour. It took 45 minutes, I think, is what the account is, for him to pass away.
Damn.
And can you imagine how agonizing that type of death would have been, just suffocating slowly for 45 minutes? So his spirit is said to have haunted the location when the Whaleys moved in. And they believe that might have started everything. That's where, and there's so much more interesting history to it. You guys should definitely implore you guys to look into it and do your own research, because it's a lot of really cool stuff. But I think he might have been one of the first prominent spirits in that location that started all
Wow.
that stuff.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Man, there has to be like some sort of like financial correlation for houses being built like on shit like that, like graveyards and
Probably cheaper.
execution. Yeah, it's like I'm just gonna get like a plot of land where all these people were massacred. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
But you get this great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it cost him $10,000 to build that house.
Wow.
Can
Back
you imagine?
That's probably like what, $100,000
Yeah.
today? Something like
I
that?
don't know. Jake does the math here. I
Well,
know.
fact check Jake over here. Fact check
Yeah.
Jake.
Ask Jake. I don't know. I don't math over here.
This math ain't math and bruv.
No.
But what are some, like, I remember you guys talking about like some of the things you guys experienced while in there. What was like one of the first things you guys like felt or experienced while in there?
I feel like after we got some history. Oh, actually, wait. Let's back up a little bit. I was thinking. Okay, I'm sorry. There's so many things I'm thinking at once. I don't remember if this came first, but we definitely heard footsteps coming down the stairs when we were switching. I think from one
that would
room
have been
to
earlier
the other.
in the night. Yeah.
Yeah, that did happen. But also, when we were in, I think it was the dining room. It was that.
Yep.
Okay. So we were in the dining room. We're getting our tour. We're gathering our information from Sam. And
Good old Sam.
Good old Sam.
I like how you have a smile on your face when you say his name.
Of course. But
They had some moments.
we did. We laughed together. So we're standing around the table, and I find out that one of the daughters' name is Koryn. One of Whaley's. Yeah, I was like, oh.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, interesting. Okay. Because I had been having dreams about this place, too, the nights leading up to us going.
What?
I had
Yep.
two
She told me
very
about
vivid
it.
dreams
Man,
about
I'm getting
them.
pretty suspicious of you, bro. Because, like, first the whole Mars attacks thing. Now that, like, what's
She's
up
a
with you?
rascal.
Oh, there's, yeah.
Who are you for
Yeah,
real?
are you really Koryn? What's your real name? How long have you been the age you are?
It's like a Scooby-Doo episode.
Vampire.
So, there are some weird things surrounding me. But anyways, so we're standing around this table. Sam is talking to us about some children that might be haunting that room, like that area in the little kitchen, I think that's in front of it. I feel I'm standing there. I have a little black backpack behind me. And it felt like someone just kind of leaned on my backpack a little bit, just like put some pressure on it. So not enough for me to like whip back, but enough for me to just kind of feel it.
Like you knew something was there.
Yeah, and I was just like, I just stood there and I was just like, that's interesting. And then I don't even think it was like a minute later, Lijia made a comment to something that Sam had been talking about, and she was like, I just felt a tug.
What did you feel?
A non-sexual tug, okay.
I wasn't thinking sexual.
I'm pressing charges against this ghost.
So yeah, she's absolutely correct. We were in the dining room area, which is said to be haunted by children.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what the relation is here, but just to give you guys a little bit of context. Apparently there's a really sad story about a little girl that passed away because she accidentally ingested, I think it was rat poison or something like that. She thought it was honey. Back then they used this like gooey like substance that was sweet that they would plant around the house. She got into it, died a horrible death. It was awful. I think she was like 2, 3 at the time.
Damn.
And so it's said to be haunted by this spirit who's also angry because of the way in which she died. And so Sam is telling us about this, and we're standing there, but while we're having these experiences, mind you, he hadn't really gotten to the point of where he was describing what other people had experienced. He was just giving us like a brief rundown of the history. And as he's talking, I kept feeling like this need to want to look over to my right. I'm like, I just felt like something was there, and I couldn't really explain. I just felt fidgety, like I couldn't sit still. I just felt like something was around me. And then out of nowhere, I just feel like a really gentle, like a little tug. It was a very gentle, like a, hey, like I'm here. Like the way a little child would tug on you if they wanted to get your attention.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared. I was more intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's interesting. I think the same way that
What
Chris
did you feel it on?
It was on my jacket.
Okay.
I was wearing like this little faux leather jacket. Can't get words out. That, I was wearing, and I just felt it right, like on the corner, just tug a little bit. And then I think at the same time, Koryn was having her experience, and we were with 2 other girls who also had some stuff happen to them. So we're all having these experiences unknowingly that we're all having it at the same time.
Yeah.
And then Sam says, oh, and by the way, this area is known to be haunted by the children, and they will either make noises, they'll tug on you, they'll kind of grab you. They're more physical in this area. And I was like, holy crap. So right away, just because I don't know, I get a little mouthy and a little brave. I was like, I think they just happened to me. And he was like, what happened to you? And I was like, I felt a tug. And and I don't know if Koryn at the time had spoken about what I don't think you
no, I didn't say
spoke
a word.
up about what happened about you at the time, or to you at the time, but that was really funny. And that was I think that was the first area that we moved into after we left the courtroom. Mm-hmm. But I know you were interested in the parlor room and it being hostile.
Yeah, because I do remember when I first talked to you guys about this, when you mentioned it, you guys mentioned that there's some rooms that you just can't go in because there's just too gnarly. Like, what's up with that? Like, is there like...
So, I don't know if it's because they're being blocked off because the activity is too intense. I think it might have been that they were more preserving some of the artifacts in there. I think that's why, like, the children's room was blocked off too. We actually had more access than the average person because, once again, Sam was going through some shit. So he was like, fuck it all. Y'all can just run amok.
I'm ready to give up right now.
Yeah, he's all, y'all can run amok. And we did, essentially. But after the dining room experience, we, I think, eventually made our way into a couple different rooms that led to the parlor room. And the parlor room is an area where one of the relatives died another horrible death. Mm-hmm. Her name is Whaley, and she committed suicide after she experienced like public ridicule and shame from being left by her husband. I mean, remember the times, y'all. You know, this was back when women, they grew up and the only thing they aspired to be were mothers and married and have children. That's, I think, the only expectation for them at that point. And so for this to happen to her brought a lot of shame on the family. She just couldn't get over it. She was 22 years old at the time, shot herself in the chest.
Yeah.
And bled out.
Yeah, I think that was actually her second attempt of suicide,
Yes.
but the second time.
Yep. She was
did it.
successful the second time. Thomas Whaley, her father, found her, took her into the parlor room, and she bled out on one of the couches. The original couch wasn't there, but they replaced it with one, I think, that like looked
like a
similar to
replica.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know if that's why this area is so active. I would probably bet that it's because the parlor room is where technically the executions were carried out, but I think that also added to it. Maybe there's something about that area that just attracts these negative energies. I wouldn't be surprised. But we performed, and not me, because I was being a little bitch, and I did not want to do this because I was already freaked out as it was. But they were performing the Estes method, and I think Pookie volunteered. And for those who don't know what that is, it's essentially a method in which you become kind of like this, I don't know how to describe it in fancy terms, but you become kind of like the voice for the spirits who are talking. They're using you as their voice.
Like their avatar, basically.
Essentially, they blindfold you. They put noise-canceling headphones on you. And while other people are asking questions, you, as the person who's being blindfolded and not being able to hear anything, you're supposed to basically say what you hear through. There's like it's a little radio, or I forget what it's called. I forget what they're called. Essentially, it's where you have the radio stations that go through.
And it's like...
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But you're essentially listening to that white noise. And if something is communicating, it can alter those frequencies to create words. And you, as the vessel, you're supposed to speak out loud what you're hearing. And so they're essentially answering questions through you. You're a medium.
Oh, shit.
And it's intense because people experience all sorts of things. It's kind of like you're opening yourself up to these energies. And it can sometimes be a little dangerous to do that. But our friend Pookie did it. And this, I think this chick from the other group decided to do it too. And all we were getting was get out. Like they kept repeating it over and over, get out, leave, just over and over and over, which corroborated what Sam had told us previously, that they just don't like you being in that area, in that space.
Yeah.
And I think it was more believable because, I mean, these were two different individuals, two different groups, and they were uttering the same thing, and they couldn't hear each other. So I found that interesting, too, that they were both saying the same thing, even though they couldn't hear.
Yeah.
No.
So.
And I don't know if you recall, too, but in that room, that corner was hot by the front window.
Yeah.
Like temperature-wise hot?
No, like there seemed to have been a lot of activity going on. They had what was that? Dang, I should have looked up all of the names of the devices.
Which one? I might know.
It was sitting on the chair, and it was round.
Oh, REM pod.
REM pod. Thank you. Okay. They had a REM pod in the chair, and it was just going off.
Yeah.
Off and off and off. And at first I was like, is this thing busted? Because it hasn't stopped, you know?
We thought the same thing.
But then someone got the, because they also had one of those music boxes that when you get close to it, it's supposed to go off and play a little tune, an eerie-ass tune.
Very creepy.
Yes, very creepy. And,
it's in the shape of a coffin.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Oh, that's what's up.
Why?
It's pretty cool. So she picked it up and she walked it over to the REM pod that was sitting on top of the chair, and she started waving it around the area. It was not going off while she was holding it until she got over the same spot that was around the REM pod. And I was just like, that's suspicious. Because, I mean, she was clearly, she even waved it in the other direction. And if it was because she was holding it that it was going off, it would have gone off when she waved it in the other direction as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it only was going off around that area with the REM pod going. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm just going to say interesting.
And then just side note, circling back to the inflation prices, Jake verified and officially confirmed 10,000 would be almost $400,000.
Oh, geez.
Oh, damn.
Damn.
Yeah.
That was pretty pricey.
For
back
all
then.
you listeners that were really worried.
Way to go, Jake.
And really,
Shout
really
out fact
needed to
checker
know.
Jacob. Well, I gotta give him an
I
applause. I
got
gotta
you.
give him. There you go.
Yeah.
Was there any like skepticism towards those devices? Like, cause people can fuck with shit like that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to check too to make sure. Okay, like, did that cat ball go off because I got close, or did it go off because something touched it? You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there was some playing around. Like, okay, is this? Are we fucking something up, or is there actually something going on? But I don't know. There were some things, though, that were happening that I still don't.
It's unexplainable
Yeah,
to you.
Yeah.
There was still some. We had additional experiences that were extremely compelling. I had a visual experience, and Koryn had an auditory experience. That
Is that the video that you have? Okay.
yeah.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
that
can
was
play
like
it too.
that was one of the coolest things I think that was captured, because I captured it as well, but she actually heard it. None of
Yeah.
us did, but her.
And I thought it
Which
was
was odd.
weird because I was like, I just kind of looked around like, no one else? Oh, okay.
And it's hilarious because you hear her, like, it was such a genuine, natural reaction to hearing something like that. You just hear, and I don't know if you want to talk about, like, what it was that you captured, but, like, shortly after you hear this, I guess you can call it an EVP that was captured, you just hear Koryn go, "Oh, hell no."
Oh, hell no. Yeah, but like no one else was reacting, so I was just like, maybe it's just me. All right, and then I was just carry on, like
Because you were the only
like
one that heard it,
how
right?
I do life, just carry on.
Yeah, she was the only one that heard it, and it was pretty cool. But
What did you see?
so, and funny enough, it happened right before that sound or EVP, whatever we'll just
Yeah.
call it EVP, was captured. So upstairs, there's an infamous theater room that was used. I don't know how long it was in operation for, but it's not that big, but it's also not that small either. It's a good size. I think at one point they said they fit like 100 people in there, which is crazy to me. I'm like, this is like 30 people max up in here. I don't know what they're talking about. But there's a theater room, and without showing you guys a map, I guess I can do my best to kind of describe the layout. But there is a very narrow hallway that runs almost parallel to this theater. Thomas Whaley was kind of a wackadoo. He had these tunnels and entrances or pathways that led to other rooms. He wanted to be able to access any room from anywhere in the house. So he built these strange hallways that would lead into rooms, and kind of strange. But essentially this narrow hallway ran almost like adjacent to the theater room, which would then lead into, I think, the master bedroom. And across from it is essentially where like the upper area of the house is, where like the hallway is, and once again, it's kind of hard to describe without showing you guys pictures. But we were standing across from this doorway that leads into that narrow hallway. And Pookie and I at the time were facing this doorway while everyone else was kind of distracted looking at different things.
I had just walked out of there. My back was turned to it.
Yeah, so she was walking towards us at the time, and Pookie and I were staring, or just happened to be looking in that direction, once again, to give you guys an understanding. There's no light. Like, all the lights are off. The only light that was emanating at the time was this light coming from the children's room behind us, but everything else was off, aside from these, like, super creepy flickering LED candles they add to the experience. So it's dark, and we're looking, and all of a sudden, it was just so casual, too, the way this happened. We see the huge shadow of a man, like an outline of what looked like clearly a male figure, very tall, just casually walking across this hallway. And the reason why we're able to see it is because we had a little bit of light behind us. And you would think like, okay, well, if, you know, you're standing in front of this light, it's casting a shadow. That's how you could rationalize it. That doesn't make sense because, one, we're both a lot shorter than that figure was. Two, it was obviously like masculine. It did not have like a feminine shape to it to classify it as like a woman or anything.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's crucial to know is because it was only us ladies up there. There were two other men aside, well, total in the group. There was Sam, and then there was one dude from the other group. And both of them were nowhere near that area. Sam was downstairs, and the other guy from the other group was in the theater room. So there's no way that they could have cast that shadow either. This figure also looked bald. It was like it just looked like a very tall, bald dude casually walking across this doorway. And some people would call it, or I think they called them shadow people, like a shadow person. I'd never seen one like that before. When I saw it at first, I have to be honest and say I wasn't scared. It was so casual that at first I thought, oh, it's just a person walking. But then I looked at Pookie and I'm like, did you see that? And she goes, hell yeah, I just saw that. And we looked and we're both thinking, like, we're both like crunching numbers in our head, right? Just trying to like figure out, okay, like Sam's down there and that dude's over there. And we both realized, we looked at each other and we both realized, like, holy shit, we just saw a shadow person walk across.
Yeah.
And the other interesting thing is, if earlier you recall me talking about Yankee Jim, he was a 6'4" individual, very tall, and I believe he was bald as well, allegedly. So
you think they saw him?
Was it the shadow of Yankee Jim walking across? I don't know. Sure fucking looked like it.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of the most compelling things I had happen to me, was seeing that.
Yeah.
But there were also some other really cool things that we had happen to us aside from being tugged on and hearing things. There were some really cool EVPs that we caught during some of the sessions that we had when working with the little radio frequencies as well. But that was gnarly, y'all. So I was panicking, and that happened right before the EVP that she caught that she's going to talk about.
Yeah. So
what is it that you're going to play for us right now?
So we were sitting down in this room, and one of those. Dang, we really need to look up the name of the radio frequency thing.
I think it's just like a radio, honestly. Like
picking up different,
like an EMF reader. It's what people use to pick up.
They can manipulate words supposedly. So that was going. We were sitting around in a circle. It was me, Lijia, Pookie, and Yanette. And so we're sitting around in a circle. We were told in the beginning. Yeah, we were told it was suggested in the beginning that we keep some kind of recording going the entire time. So I was going around with my phone the entire time, thankfully. So I sat down and I set my my phone up, leaning up against my knee. And Sam had just walked in there, and he was sitting down with us. And I think he was giving us a little history or something about the room. And I'm trying to get us to have a seance, basically, which I know really freaked you out, and you're like, kind of had a hell no moment, like.
Yeah, because this dude basically tricked us into a seance. I just want to make it clear. He kept trying to get us to do gnarly shit all night, and that was one of the times, and we didn't realize what he was trying to do at the time. We just thought we were doing something interesting, but anyways,
and then it became apparent of what was actually happening, and it was like, no, we're not doing this. But we're sitting there in a circle, and he had just turned the radio off, and then I hear a child's voice laughing, and it sounded creepy. It's a creepy ass laugh, and that's why I was like, oh hell nah. And then but no one else said anything. Everyone was like straight face, just super serious, and I was just like
not reacting.
And I'm tripping because I had just seen the shadow person, so I'm having like an out of body experience at the moment, and I'm literally like, holy shit, I just saw a shadow person.
You didn't hear what she heard?
No, not at all. I think I was just I was disassociating at the time because I was still processing what I had seen.
Yeah. And it was so bizarre, I have to say, hearing that laugh, because I do have excellent hearing.
Yeah.
I could not pinpoint what direction it came from. It felt like it was in the middle of us, but I mean, there was no one sitting in the middle of us. I see everyone who's in the room, and there was no children there that night.
Yeah.
No children. There was no toys that I had seen that can make that laugh.
Yeah.
It looked like a bunch of porcelain dolls in the children's room, which was next door to the room that we were in. But yeah, I heard the laugh, and I was just kind of looking around, like, where did I hear that from? It was bizarre. But I can go ahead and I can play it.
Because like you said, you had your phone recording the whole time.
Yeah, I had my phone recording pretty much the whole time. And so when we were going back and looking at the footage, I was like, did I catch what I heard? And sure enough, it's in my video. And I was like, well, that's cool.
And you
I'm
told
not
me
totally
about it
crazy.
first. And then I was like, well, let me check my video because we were all recording.
Yeah.
And when I heard it in mine, I was like, okay.
You heard it in yours?
Oh, yeah. I have it as well. And I'm pretty sure, I wouldn't be surprised if the other girls have it
I don't think
also.
they were recording.
Well, maybe.
I don't know.
Because apparently we're all supposed to have our phones like facing the center with our videos recording. Okay, and also let me just say, this dude not only like tricked us into a seance, but then fucking bolts, like left us in the room.
Yeah.
This is a real fucking story. Like, seriously, tells us what to, doesn't even really explain what we're doing, just tells us to do this thing in this room, which also happened to be Violet Whaley's old room, mind you.
Yeah.
And tells us, oh yeah, just sit in a circle, get your phones out, record some video, and start talking to it, and run the little radio thing to capture some EVPs. All right, see ya. Like, and then just walked out, turned off the lights, and walked out, dude. I'm like, and he's like, oh yeah, and hold hands. How is this not?
Sit in a circle
How
and
is this
hold
not
hands.
a seance?
Also, can you read this? And it's like a whole spell. Read it out loud in this stuff.
Prior to that, in the beginning of the tour, he was talking about a window scrying. Now, I'm not an expert. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this method before, but it's this gnarly method that people use to conjure spirits.
No, I never heard of
In
it.
the mirror.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be very dangerous because it's like you're opening a portal. Once again, I've never done it. I don't necessarily know if I believe in it, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
And he was essentially, oh yeah, I recommend you guys doing it. I wouldn't do it, but you guys should definitely do it. And I called him out also. I was like, why do I get the feeling that you're trying to get us to do things that you won't do? And then everyone started giggling, and he goes, he's like, you caught me.
Because I don't even work here.
Walks out. Yeah, it was funny. He was a funny dude.
Yeah.
Funny little fella.
All right, let's hear what you got.
Okay. So it's going to be a little loud at first, but
That's
then
fine.
you hear Sam turn off the device, and then it gets quiet, and then you hear the laugh. Okay? Then, yeah. All right, here we go.
So here's what I'm gonna recommend for you guys. Oh, my kid. That probably just stained my jacket, but it's fine. I don't care. I recommend one of y'all set up your phone, kind of like that.
Oh, hell no.
That was a genuine Koryn reaction.
Holy shit.
Me when I'm scared? Oh, hell no.
It was very subtle, but you could hear it. It was like the giggle, like very subtle.
Yeah.
And no one else seemed to hear it.
There was
so-
nothing in the room that could have created that sound.
Yeah.
But it's also very interesting that we were located next to the children's room.
Yeah.
Now, you could also argue, okay, it could have been a doll from the other room, but like we're down the hallway, it locked in another room. Sound wouldn't carry like that. How
No,
would we,
not like that.
How would you?
No, that thing sounded like it was traveling.
Yeah, it's traveling. Yeah, for sure, dude. She was like flying through the room. But no, it sounds like it's right next to us.
Yeah.
So there's no way to justify or rationalize how that would have happened. I mean, that's pretty compelling by itself.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you saw it in your video, or when you heard it in your video?
I was excited.
Yeah?
I was very excited because, like, hell yeah. Like, we have multiple devices that caught this, so
Yeah.
it can't really be disputed. You have multiple. I mean, we should definitely ask the girls to run through their footage if they were recording. I think Yannette was, just to see in case they might have caught it. It'd be interesting to
That'd
know.
be cool.
But Koryn and I were next to each other, so.
Yeah, I definitely asked everyone in our group, though, like, did y'all hear that? Am I the only one? And everyone else seemed to be like, no, I didn't hear that at the time. Yeah, that was weird, and I'm glad I captured it. I even sent it to Sam afterwards.
Did you now?
I did a little twinkle in my eye. Yeah,
She sent it today.
and he confirmed. He's like, yeah, I think you definitely caught something. There was nothing in the room that should have made that sound.
Yeah.
That could have made that sound. And he just gave me a little congratulations, and I was like, thank you.
That's what's
That
up.
means
That's
a
what's
lot
up.
coming from you.
Yeah, another really cool part of that experience was when we were in the theater room. I would say, based off my own experience, the theater room felt like the friendliest
Yes.
part of the house. It felt more welcoming.
Yeah.
It felt more lighthearted and fun. And the reason why I say that is, one, the energy itself felt lighter, but also we were conducting EVP sessions and we were trying to communicate. Once again, this family was known for being bilingual, so we were encouraged to speak in Spanish too, because Thomas was known to like to engage in Spanish, like have conversations in Spanish. So we were trying all sorts of things to get them to respond, and we have it captured. It's just we have to go through. I think both of us have it recorded too, where we're asking questions, trying to get some intelligent answers back. And we got some really cool stuff. You can hear different voices coming through, some female, some male. And they sound totally different. And they're like, hi, hey.
Really?
And they're
We got
actually
a hi.
responding. They're responding to our questions. And that was really cool. Also, it seems like the busiest part of the house, too. We had a REM pod in the very back in one of the bleachers. And I agree with what Koryn was saying earlier about not being sure whether the equipment was busted or not. But this thing was going off nonstop. Now, the way that they typically work, dude, I'm not a REM pod scientist, but my understanding here is that they emit like a magnetic field. And anything that disrupts that will cause it to go off. And there's like lights or sounds depending on, I think there's even like heat signatures it might be able to capture. But this thing the whole time was like, wee, wee, like going off nonstop. And technically that would only happen if something was within its field. Normally you have to be right above it. You have to literally, you can't just be close to it. You have to be on it. And there was nothing around it. It was all by itself in the very back. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And you can hear it going off when we're talking or trying to have these conversations and trying to get some responses back, going off nonstop, almost like something was just sitting there.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting too. But we'll have to show you guys some of the stuff we captured. There's a lot of noise to kind of sift through, but it's pretty cool.
I do have some recordings. I know we went through it together. I should have named them properly, but I do have some of the voice recordings. I just wonder which one is.
Which
The
one's
one
oh hell
from,
not one, oh hell not two?
And she actually uploaded it to YouTube.
The
Yeah.
one with the giggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if
Look it
anything,
up.
like I could even add, if you could say, like find something, send it to me, and I could add it into the episode.
For
Yeah.
sure.
At this point.
Tell us something. Put a word out there. Touch a ball.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
That was a hello. That was a solid hello.
Thank you for saying hello. Yeah, because
Or maybe even some footage too. We have footage of us walking in
Yeah.
and capturing some of the areas if you guys are interested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you guys are, I could post that one like with the episode like on
Yeah.
Instagram.
I think it'd be cool to give people, once again, a visual on it.
Yeah. But yeah, somewhere in here I have when we were in the theater sitting down and we had the radio device going off. Yeah, we got a very friendly hi. And because we had just said hi.
Yeah.
And then so we got a hi back, and I was just like, "Oh, you sound sweet."
Yeah.
But sometimes the sweetest ones that lure you.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Like me.
That's how Jake got me. But yeah, it was such a cool experience overall. I highly recommend people go and check it out for themselves. Your experience might differ from ours, but there is something definitely going on.
Yeah.
There's something going on in that place. I mean, they wouldn't call it the most haunted house in America if people weren't having real experiences there. And there's tons of stories out there. You can look it up online. People have gone and having things follow them home,
Yeah.
which is always, a possibility.
Because you guys had to do something, right? Like
Yes.
before
Yes.
leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
See, that's the scary part for me too.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I might be fucking with something that I just am not supposed to be fucking with, and I'm gonna take it home.
And you
Well-
could be, yeah. And you have to set boundaries and I think know your limits and have a real respect and deep understanding of what it is
Yeah.
you're doing, so that you can avoid being caught in situations like that.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
coming from
'cause-
someone who's had that happen to her before, it's scary.
Yeah, you don't want to go into some place like that with like disrespect, like
Yeah.
like even if you don't believe, I feel like you should still just respect the place.
Yeah, of course.
Respect the history at
Yeah.
least. Because apparently someone went in and thought it'd be funny to play the piano, or at least touch the piano and press some keys there. And supposedly they ended up getting some, it seemed like something maybe possibly followed them home and messed with their piano.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of like a payback type of thing.
Yeah, like no one was around the piano kind of thing.
How
And
do you
then
like this?
the keys just
Yeah.
start, just bam, you know.
Yeah, I think I recall that story, reading about it too. So Anna Whaley was the wife to Thomas Whaley, and she's known to be one of the spirits that haunts that place. And I guess she used to really enjoy hosting parties in the parlor room where the piano is located. And they say that they recommend you not touching her piano
Yeah.
because she gets very offended if you do, because that's kind of her,
Yeah.
territory.
It's my shit.
Yeah, it's her shit, and I think that's what the article discusses, is the person feeling like they might have crossed some boundaries, and it was
yeah.
like she showed up to her place, knocked on her keys, and she was like, "What's up? How do you like it?"
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was really cool, even though it was terrifying. I'm so glad I did it, and I'm really glad that I went with the crew that I
Yeah.
went with, because
We were all sturdy.
yeah, we got along really well. It's funny because the two other girls we went with, Koryn's been friends with for a long time, but I had just met, and it was my first time hanging out with them like that. So I essentially went with strangers in a way. And I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to play out, because this is a really intimate experience going through something like that.
Yeah.
And we ended up staying the night out there. We shared a room. Like, it was a whole thing. But it couldn't have been more perfect. Everybody got along really well. And we all kind of had the same mindset, like, hey, we're walking in with the utmost respect.
Yeah.
We're not going to act obnoxious. We're going to come in with, like, an open mind. We're going to take care of one another, and we're going to have a good time at the same time. So that was really, really cool. So I would say whoever you decide to go with, just make sure you pick someone that you feel very comfortable with. That makes a big
Good
difference.
company.
Yeah, good vibes too. It's all about the energy that you're emitting when walking into spaces like that. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. And before we left, they suggested that we face the house say thank you. And, we appreciate you letting us come into your home. You're not allowed to follow us home.
Yeah.
But very sternly. I forgot exactly.
I did too. Yeah. It's like, I just remember the end, like, please do not follow me home. It was like farewell, good night, do not follow me home.
Yeah.
Like something like that. And he was very adamant about it. He was like, you better not leave without doing this. Mm-hmm. And we're like, shit.
And I was like,
okay,
you got
serious.
it. All right.
Yeah.
So we did it when we were behind the house, and we were walking past the house. We did it to the side of the house, and then we did it when we got to the front of the house. Yeah. We're like, we're hitting, we're making
covering all
sure.
bases.
We're hitting every side.
Yeah.
You are not coming home.
Yeah. Yeah, and he also recommended that we sage ourselves, which, I mean, we were planning on doing anyways. And we
had
did.
a stick in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was close to 2 a.m. We were out there.
Wow.
Like, once the tour was over, there was no one out there. Another fun fact, too, real quick, just because we're talking about it. Out there in Old Town San Diego, there's a ton of, like, forgotten grave sites.
Yeah.
And you can actually see them. There's, like, some of them were paved over. And what they did, because they couldn't identify the person that was buried there, they're, like, unmarked graves. They just put these, like, silver, almost like a silver dollar-looking thing on top to mark. I think it just says, like, grave site or something like that.
Oh,
to let you know
shit.
you're walking over someone's grave site. And there's a ton of them all over. And so a lot of people are weirded out in general of that area because it's supposed to be very haunted, not just because of the Whaley House, but because of the unmarked graves and, the spirits who aren't at rest that are said to haunt that area and, like, walk the streets at night. But it was very eerie. I remember us feeling like, dude, you could hear a pin drop out there.
Yeah.
It was deathly quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, we should mention the funny thing that happened in the beginning. Remember before we went in? I'll say it, but
which one?
when we were in the courtroom, we were getting ready to go and basically start our investigation.
Yeah.
This was so good. It was so freaking good. So we're walking, we're literally making our way. We're all hyped, right? Like, yeah, we can catch the ghost. And then all of a sudden, Sam's like, whoa, because we're all chatting. We're all, like, making noises. He's like, oh, shh, shh, shh. He's like, hold on. I was like, you hear that? And almost like on cue, as soon as he shushed us, all of a sudden you hear, woo!
From across the street.
From across the street. The bars. It was one of the patrons from across the street that on cue, as soon as he shushed us, like,
was perfect.
wooed, and we busted up, dude. It was such a great way.
Was perfect.
It was a brilliant chef's
Impeccable.
kiss.
Yeah.
And
I wish
oh my
we
gosh.
recorded that.
I know. I wish I would have captured that. It was hilarious, and it was just such a funny and great way to start that whole investigation.
It was perfect.
The look on his face was priceless too, because he was so disappointed. But at the same time, he's like, "Fucking figures, like this would happen to me."
Well, thank you guys for sharing that. Like, even though you told me the story already, it was still so compelling hearing it again. Like,
It feels like I went with you guys.
yeah, so I don't have to go anywhere.
I just want to add. So, when we got back to the hotel, we were all out of the your Jeep, and we were saging each other. We got back up to the hotel room. No one spoke about it, but we slept with one of the bathroom light on all night. No one turned it off.
Undisputed.
Yeah, like no one questioned it. We were just like, all right, we're
Like
just
an
gonna leave this
unspoken
on.
agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we saged each other with consent, okay?
Yeah.
With consent.
Let
And
me say to you,
intention.
bro.
But yeah, it was like, I think it was a bathroom or hallway light,
Yeah.
and no one turned it off.
No
We all
one.
collectively knew we're fucking scared. And
Oh, hell yeah.
We're
After an
not going to
experience
talk
like
about
that.
it, but
Yeah,
we're just going to leave it on.
Well, Koryn knocked out right away. This bitch was snoozing after like 5 minutes. And I think that she wasn't, to be fair to her, though, she wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
She was a little under the weather, and so was Pookie, and they knocked out right away. And it took me a little bit to fall asleep because I was still so revved up from that experience.
Jeez.
But oh man. Oh, and also interesting, that night driving up, we saw a meteor shower, and it just looked
Holy
so,
shit.
It was a sign.
yeah, it was just so mystical, and it just really added to the night. I was like, is this a sign? Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. We're driving up, we're going, because you're driving up into San Diego, and you're
Yeah.
taking the 15 South, and you have this, like, beautiful view of the sky. And you just see, out of nowhere, Koryn and I, because I was driving, she was in the front seat, we see these, like, glowing green orbs, like, shoot across the sky. And we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And we looked it up. Yeah, sure enough, there was a meteor shower going on at the
that's so
time. And we
cool.
just
That's
happened to
tight.
catch it. So
Yeah.
it was just...
A magical night.
Such an enchanting
From beginning
evening.
to end. Yeah.
What a nice spooky season ending event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You guys
always-
should go. You should check it out.
I'm down. The one thing I'm like afraid of, because like I do want to go in like with that respect, you know, but I know myself when I get scared or I just get very sarcastic and just probably be like a shithead. So like that's what I'm afraid of, that I'll be doing, like, especially if I go with like Birdie and Eddie, like it's
That's why I'm
ramped up.
really interested in going with you guys, because I'm like,
Yeah.
we're probably not gonna make it home, dude. Those fucking ghosts are gonna be like, man, you guys are being so disrespectful. We're keeping you here.
Just roll with it. Just do it. Don't be scared.
Let me know when you do. I've been trying to
Yeah,
get
I'm
back
down.
there.
I'm down. I need to do it.
Like a return to the Whaley House.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Reboot.
Yeah.
The sequel?
Yeah,
The
the sequel.
Will you go?
Seriously. Yeah, I think I would.
We should all go as a big group.
Yeah, I think I would.
You down, Jacob?
His mom.
Hell yeah. I really want to go now.
Yeah.
Oh no! All of a sudden.
Yeah. It was a relief, though, to walk out of that house.
Yeah.
It felt like there was just so much gravity just pushing down on you. So much weight. And it felt like I could breathe finally when I walked out of that house.
Do you recall when we were standing there waiting for Sam to come out? We were discussing. We were like, "So how long do you think this is gonna be?" And you're like, "An hour." And I was like, "Cool, yeah." And then he ended up telling us that it was gonna end up being like 3 hours or something.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah, and I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we looked at each other like, "Fuck." How
much
like,
was this,
what
by
are
the
we
way?
doing? It was about like 96
A person?
Yeah,
that
something
sounds
like that.
That sounds like your money's worth right there.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, and they provide the
If they told me an
the
hour, I'd be like,
tools
bro,
and
you better
everything.
make this 3 hours. I ain't paying 96
Yeah.
They show
Yeah.
you how to use the devices and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was super thorough. I mean, you get everything from cat. We kept calling them cat balls, but
Yeah.
they're cat toys that light up when there's movement.
I like cat balls.
REM pods. We're given thermal cameras too. And so I have, I didn't catch anything on the camera, sadly, but he encourages you to bring your phone. He wants you to record because you can catch really cool shit.
Yeah.
I was recording like the thermal camera with my phone, all sorts of things. It's certainly worth the amount that you're paying for the time that you get
Yeah.
and the privacy you're getting to, because they have tours during the day that you can take, even evening ones that are guided. But this is like, they put you in there, and this is a full-on investigation that you're performing with the equipment at your disposal. It feels very real. And after, because I'm such a sucker for paranormal investigation shows, I fucking love them. I don't care
Yeah.
if they're real or not. It's entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
And if you disagree, you're lying, because it's
And
still,
no, it is very entertaining.
it's super entertaining. And after that experience, I look at it in a completely different light.
100%.
Now, I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Now that I know firsthand what that intensity feels like, being in a space with that much energy,
Yeah.
like collected. Oh,
Like when you hear
Yeah.
knocks or steps down a hallway that shouldn't be there, when I see that in the investigation videos now, I'm just like, whew, like get a little rush. I'm like, I've experienced that. It's eerie.
yeah.
yeah.
And
Very eerie.
it is definitely different going from just someone who was an outsider watching the videos to actually being in a place like that and experiencing it. Oh, I have so much respect for people who actually go out and do this and just try to gather evidence.
Or even the solo investigations. I think it's the gnarliest thing. Not only, I mean, it's not just the paranormal spooky factor. It's human beings, too.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
You're alone.
You're by yourself in an abandoned place, because half the time they are abandoned.
I think the
Yeah.
earliest one that I saw of that was a Japanese man. Went to an island off the coast of Japan, and it was an abandoned like hospital or prison or something like that,
Yeah.
and like it was known to be just gnarly. Like even the owners were like, "You can go demolish it. We're not like we're totally abandoning this building like 100%, but we're not gonna do anything with it. If you guys want to destroy it, go ahead. We're not going to." And this guy made it his mission to like get a boat and then go over there and spend a night over there. And he recorded the whole thing. I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube. But he set up a camera in one room where he was gonna sleep in, and he set up a camera in the hallway, and he set up a camera on the outside. But that was probably the gnarliest thing I've ever seen, as far as like one guy going to this island to spend like a night alone and just be
Ni
like,
loca.
yeah, like.
I know.
But yeah, that like I haven't seen that footage since I was like in high school. But yeah, it's gnarly.
Dang.
But to kind of like close this off, I wanted to ask you guys something. It's spooky season right now, and like this is like a spooky season episode for us. Do you guys have like a spooky movie that you guys like? October hits and you guys are like, man, I definitely have to watch this in October.
What
Hereditary.
Oh.
any genre,
Any
like,
genre,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hereditary.
Hereditary hits the spot sometimes.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Whew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost watched it last night, but I ended up watching Mars Attacks.
What about you, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I usually just go to my usual, like, Nightmare on Elm Street or Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're a fan of slasher films?
Slashers,
like that.
yeah. Scream, yeah.
Yeah, I'm more partial to paranormal spooky.
Yeah.
So the Conjuring series is another go-to of mine. I absolutely love it. I love the story.
Those
And
type of
Annabelle.
movies don't really, like, scare me that much. I do like them, though. Like, I love that first Conjuring movie. I love Hereditary. But, yeah, like, we had discussed about how, like, because Eddie feels the same way that we don't really get scared of those type of movies. It's more movies like, what did we say? Alien movies. Because, like, that shit just is scary to me.
Is it because it feels like it could potentially be real?
Yeah.
Is it that
Yeah.
being the factor?
Yeah.
I agree with you there. I think that's why I like paranormal spooky, because
Same.
it seems a lot more fictional.
Yeah.
Slasher films for me aren't my favorite just because of like the human on human violence crime that you normally see, even though I know some of these characters are goofy as fuck walking around with masks and shit. But it's still a person in there,
Yeah.
and it's the violent aspect of it that makes it real,
Yeah.
and it makes it scarier in a sense. So for me, it's more entertaining. I have to agree with you there.
Do you think, like, movies that involve, like, hauntings kind of hit different for you guys now?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, does
Oh,
it?
yes.
Like Hereditary must really be on top then.
Yeah, I don't like looking in dark corners anymore.
Shit.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
That
that's-
movie, so great. I just watched that. I think, was it last year?
Like, for the first time?
For the first time.
Oh,
I
shit.
had
I've
no
seen it a
idea that
few,
it
yeah.
existed. I think you mentioned it once, and I just didn't get to it. I don't know what it was, but we recently watched it, and we all know the scene, right? I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there's that one infamous scene that happens that you're just like shell-shocked from. You're
Oh
not
my
expecting.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, this is a different kind of movie. It was so nice. Go ahead, sorry.
I just think because it's not. It's kind of still towards the beginning, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, you just threw that at me right now, and there's still so much movie left.
Yeah, and you're just not the same. Like now, throughout the entire movie, you're on edge, and it's so masterful. The scenes where there's no music, it's
Yeah.
just silent. Ooh, that is my favorite thing that horror movies do.
So
with, like,
intense.
It's
Yeah.
very intense. I think it's so much scarier when your mind can
Oh, yeah.
kind of go off and sort of like just. I don't know. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Go off and figure out, like, oh, what is that? What am I listening to? Because what you're creating in your mind feels so much more intense than what they could actually be showing you. I love when they do that. And that's one of my favorite things about Hereditary is the silence
Yeah.
and
Man.
loudness of the film at the
Yeah.
same time.
Oddly
I
beautiful
love the way you
scenes.
guys just talked about that movie. That was a pretty great synopsis on that, because I mean, a lot of like, there's a lot of people that talk about that movie, and it's like, all right, I get it. You liked it because it's cool, you know. But you guys just talked about it in a way where it's like, fuck, it really is that fucking spooky, huh?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, it's all about the way the directors shoot and the way it's produced. Because I am a little bit of a critic myself, and I do notice the nuances. And so little things like that really elevate the film. And with it being like a paranormal type movie, I think it's very easy to cross over into like the corny, cheesy sort of realm. Like you want to make it somewhat believable, even though it's clearly fictional. And so how do you do that?
Yeah.
So you have to play on lighting and sound, and oh man, it's really cool. Those are things I definitely notice in a good movie.
Man, you should talk about movies with us more often, dude.
Yeah.
The way you talked about that right now, I was like, yes, you just
well,
hit the
thank you.
you just hit the nail on the head right now.
We're trying to
Yeah.
replace Birdie, so.
When do I start? But yeah, no, I it's just something I can't help but notice, and it really makes me appreciate it. So it's pretty cool.
That's tight. That's tight.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, yeah, thank you guys again for coming on and sharing. We definitely got to plan like a big group thing to the Whaley House.
Oh my gosh, it'd be
That'd be
so
so tight.
recommend that we stay the night out there though, because
Yeah.
it is going to be a really long night. So you probably have to book a couple rooms just because. I mean, unless you care to drive home at like 2-3 in the morning, but it's nice not having to. It'd be fun. To
We'll
do
bring a
something like that.
nightlight.
You know what's funny too? Like, I saw Evan had posted on his Instagram that he did the tour earlier this week.
The nighttime?
I don't know if it was the nighttime one, but I
Okay.
saw him post a picture that he was there doing the tour, and I replied to him. I was like, "Damn, that's crazy!" Because Lijia and Koryn are coming on the podcast this weekend to talk about their experience on that. So I was
Man,
just-
we'll have to talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what he did. The daytime tour, I actually want to do. I want to try it. I think it's only like $14.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
Like it's on sale right now. It's really cheap to go. And I think it's unguided. And then there's an evening one that is guided. That's a little bit more. But I
want the
haven't seen it
nighttime
during the
one.
day. So I think it'd be cool to kind of compare it to our experience at night.
I do both, but I 100% want to go back at night again. I have a few other little things I want to try now during my my research that I've been doing, trying to figure out different ways to maybe kind of, I don't know, I guess gather some
Yeah.
evidence. So I really want to go back.
That'd be cool.
yeah, we
Yeah.
should. We should definitely do that. But yeah, once again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being so open and so. Thank you for being good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a delight.
Yeah, thanks.
You
for
guys were a
having us again.
delight.
Definitely should
Yeah.
have you guys back on for something else.
Yeah, we got more stories.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I have a handful of stories. Just tell me. Just invite me over. Just
Let's do it.
Coming
Yeah,
out of
let's,
a
I'll
hey.
talk about it.
let's do it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was really fun.
And
Thank you guys.
Thank you everybody for sticking around. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Check out the Whaley House. Do the tour.
Yeah, if you guys end up doing that, let us know because sounds spooky.
All right. We'll see everybody next time.
Good night.